What's going on, humans?
It's Vlogmas the Whitaker way,
Right.
because we don't do.
We really haven't established a actual opening, I guess, one day, but we will.
Yes. So, uh, here's our Vlogmas video. It's Vlogmas Day Whitaker. Because we, again, do it our way. So, we're gonna do story time.
Pretty much.
So, we decided that since we're reintroducing ourselves back to YouTube, we would talk about how we met. So you guys can get a backstory of how we met. Has nothing to do with Christmas. But if it makes you guys feel better, I'll talk about Christmas somewhere in our story time.
I don't believe that just because it's Vlogmas, it has to be about Christmas. We're just vlogging during the Christmas season. That's how I look at it. So. But anyway.
Let's go.
Go ahead, baby.
Well, the very first time that I saw your brown eyes, something said hello, and I said hi. And if I ever fall in love.
Done, baby.
Okay, how we met. We met in college at Delaware State University. I was in my
Go Hornets. Go HBCU.
I was in my freshman year. Tisha was in her junior.
I was in my junior year, yeah.
Her junior year. I joined the choir because I was used to singing in gospel choirs, so I joined the choir. What you just heard is post some things happening, so I really could sing. So don't be like, oh my gosh, she joined the choir, but she was, yeah, don't. So I joined the choir, and
this is pre-tumors, but we'll talk to you about that one later. That's another story.
Right. And Tisha was a drummer in the gospel choir, but I wasn't really like paying attention to her when I first joined the choir. I had a roommate that thought she was just sexy as hell. And so the very first time I ever heard about Tish was my roommate mentioned to me, she was like, have you seen the drummer of the choir, of the gospel choir? And she was like, y'all in the choir, right? And she was talking to me and another girl, that I went to high school with, and we started going to college together. But she was like, have y'all seen the drummer? So I was like, yeah, but I wasn't too familiar. I don't even think I knew her name at that time. So she was like, oh my gosh, she's so fine, and da 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 da. So she was like, she's about to come over to our room. And I was like, oh, okay. So I don't even remember what Tish had on or anything like that. But when I saw her, I was just like, my first thought was that she was cocky. That was my first thought. And then when I saw her, because my roommate was like so gaga over her, I was like, oh, I mean, she looks like she can talk, but I don't know if I'm
still
supposed to say
hate that now.
I'm going to bleep that out, that F word.
Okay, thank you. But still, I continue, baby.
So, then my roommate moved out. I don't know why. But I ended up having a room to myself, and the girl that I came from high school with, we ended up having like a thing going on. And then we found out that the girl that was across the hall from us, that happened to be in the gospel choir too, was gay. Who is now my best friend. So she also was attracted to Tish, and she was like, "Oh my God, the drummer is so sexy and da da da. And again, I never really paid attention to Tisha at that time. I mean, she was a drummer, but she reminded me of a girl we used to go to high school with. They used to play the drums, and that's kind of how we related, or I mean, talked about her. The other girl that I used to date, we would be like, yeah, the chick that played like, or the drummer chick that's like Angel or something like that. So when my best friend started talking about her, I paid more attention to her as an for the sake of my friend at the time. I was like, okay, let me really pay attention to this girl and see who she is, and see what she's about. So I would see her come, I mean, in the choir or whatever, and I still thought she was cocky. I was like, she's so fucking cocky.
It wasn't cocky. It's holy.
But,
saved, sanctified. You didn't understand that? Okay. No, I was saved.
But yeah. So so I still had the same thought. I was like, she looks like she can. She like, God, I said it again. I was like, she could have good sex. So I still wasn't like interested in her. Number one, because she was a musician. Number two, I had always said that I was not going to date a basketball player, football player, musician, because they had what's the word I'm looking for?
Groupies, I think you said, or something like that.
No,
something of that caliber, or they
a track record, or anyway.
Got a bad track record.
So, so I started to help my friend hook up with her or whatever. So we would because I knew they had a class together. So I was like, why don't you ask her to come do homework? And so my friend was like, that class doesn't even really have homework. And I can't remember what type of class it was.
It was music 101. I started taking all my electives at my last 2 years, so I didn't have to be stressed out about classes.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, well, tell her you missed some notes and you want to get some notes from her. So the campus had like this phone book. So we had to like look her name up in the phone book to find her number so that my best friend could call her and make up some story about why she happened to have her number. So I think she ended up calling or whatever. And so I was like, why don't you just have a conversation with her, invite her over to the room, invite her to play cards, not knowing that this heifer could not play cards at all. But that was one of the suggestions. I was like, invite her to play cards. We can all play spades together. Again, not knowing that
I don't play cards.
Don't know how to play spades. But so eventually, I think we saw her on campus or something like that, and we invited her to, I think, play basketball or something.
To the calf.
Yeah, we invited her to the calf.
For, I think lunch or something like that.
And then we started talking to her and getting to know her, whatever. And then I started to realize, okay, she's really kind of cool. She's kind of a dope person. I still thought she was kind of cocky, but I was like, I mean, she seems dope. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit because it's a lengthy story. So I kept encouraging my friend to like talk to her. So during the summer break, we, my best friend who's from Delaware, she was at home, and then of course Tisha was in Jersey. So I was like, keep talking to her on the phone, hang out with her, So they started to talk. Yes. My now best friend used to date my wife. So, and it was only like a week.
Now everybody knows.
It literally was only a week, but that's another story. So they started to talk. Oh, it was just really about how we met.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how we met. We'll go into the other story later about the detail and how we ended up getting together. That's another story, how we got together. So now you guys know how we met. I could have just simply said we met Adele stayed in the choir and been this whole 11 minutes.
And that's pretty much, how we met in the gospel choir. And stay tuned for
part 2
of
how we got together.
Right.
Yes. So, yeah.
So, like, pretty much, make sure you like, subscribe, comment down below. And there's one more thing before you go. Hit that notification button so that you know we're putting up a video. Then, peace out to humans.
Bye. You must get yourself together.
That's what I'm trying to do and you're not working with me.
Your leg is popped
Come
up.
on, you playing too much.
Your leg is popped up. Put your legs down.
Let me see.